Okay, so we're going to continue on with the 3 real chilling events caught on security cameras from the Rob Gavagan YouTube channel. We already saw one story, an unsolved murder. Let's see what this one is. Ellie Tran.
Ellie Tran was 35 and the...
All right, let's pause and put... let's pause and put in new batteries. Here we go. This is a pretty creepy picture, but then you realize it's a statue behind her. Let's switch the battery quickly. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, let's resume.
Mother to her 2-year-old daughter. Her family had moved from Vietnam to Virginia Beach in order to assist her in raising her daughter, as she was a single parent. She had recently ended a tumultuous relationship with a man named Joseph Merlino III.
Oh, he just looks like a totally upstanding individual who you'd want to date and have a meaningful relationship with. Okay then. I love the bedhead, by the way. Okay.
So was the child's father. Merlino owned a phone repair shop. After falling pregnant, Tran immediately voiced the significance of having her family involved in her daughter's life. In fact, once her parents moved from Vietnam, they lived in the same home as Tran. Merlino did not approve of this
he doesn't
and
like
declined to live with.
See, in Asia, this is very common. Extended families all live together. You live with your parents, your kids live in the same house. Yeah, even you know, sometimes uncles, aunts, cousins. That's common over there. Here in the United States, it's like, oh, we gotta have our own separate thing from everyone, right? But it's, you know, I can understand she wanted to have her family involved in the life of her child, and it was very common to have the family in the same home. I get that.
Though Merlino was reportedly extremely controlling and sometimes even scared Tran, she tried to make the relationship work, as she had traditional beliefs and didn't want a separated family. Before their imminent breakup, Tran had reported Merlino to the police. He had reportedly grabbed her by the neck and threatened to put her under the ground.
Oh, great.
This allegedly occurred in front of their daughter. Merlino didn't face much of a repercussion except a fine. Tran had been working many hours on end as a manicurist to ensure she could provide for her daughter as well as take...
I've actually noticed this. So with a lot of people who do this style of content, like documentary style content and stuff like this, they purchase stock footage and put it into their videos. You can tell, just look at this. It's high definition footage, has nothing to do with the video at all. It's filler, right? So you can buy this on the cheap for like a couple bucks. You can buy the rights to have this clip. And what's funny is, sometimes you'll watch one person's video and another. It'll have the same exact stock footage clip in both. You're like... But yeah, a lot of these people do this. They have, you know, and I don't blame them if you need a little bit of filler, right? Okay.
Care of her parents. Though she had split from Merlino, they were involved in a battle for the custody of their daughter, which kept them relatively close still. In diary entries, Tran admitted to being afraid of Merlino, who had allegedly followed her as well as tried to break into her home. This was the catalyst for her to get security cameras installed outside of her house. As she got home on Valentine's Day in 2017, after work at around 8 p.m., she was surprised by Merlino. The security camera footage shows her exiting her car when Merlino jumps out from behind the bushes and grabs at her.
Wow.
What isn't directly noticeable in the footage is that Merlino had a syringe filled with a lethal dose of cyanide.
Wow.
He plunged it into her upper leg, effectively poisoning her. He then ran off as she seemed to be left in a state of shock and panic. Tran managed to call 911, but within 15 minutes was unconscious.
Wow.
She was rushed to the hospital, but 4 hours later was declared as brain dead. The next day, she was taken off life support.
What a piece
of fucking shit. When brought in for questioning, Merlino first claimed he had been hundreds of miles away visiting family at the time of Tran's murder. His phone pinged at towers in the area, but there had been no activity, no calls or messages, suggesting he may have simply left it there to support a false alibi.
Yeah.
In January of 2017, Merlino reportedly went to a pizza joint every single day. While there, a coworker recalls him receiving a package at the pizza shop. In fact, on January 24th, Merlino's internet history showed that he had looked up how many milligrams of cyanide will kill you, as well as what if cyanide gets injected. He had also ordered a steel syringe via Etsy, which was in the package he received.
Wow.
Merlino denied he had made the searches online and claimed that it was the computer of his cell phone repair business, and half a dozen people had access to it. Once he was jailed and awaiting trial, Merlino went on a 2-month hunger strike and lost 40 pounds. The police believe this was a ploy to look different than he did in the security camera footage. Additionally, they believed he wore a reflective shirt in order to cause a glare in the camera to make his identification more difficult. Merlino had already found another girlfriend and wrote coded letters from jail to try to get her to lie for him. The intercepted letters seemed to say that he wanted his girlfriend to create a fake chat history and claim they'd been video calling in order to give him an alibi. Finally, Merlino was found guilty of his crime and was sentenced to life in prison.
Good.
To complete the grimness of the situation, when brought to sentencing, Merlino was foaming at the mouth and unresponsive. Doctors said it could have been stress-induced, while the prosecution insisted it was an act. Merlino blamed his lawyers for his sentence and claimed he'd appeal. As of now, there is no record of it, and he's still right where he belongs, in prison.
What a piece of shit. That's fucked up. Thank God for the security camera. And like they said, she'd only set it up as a way because she was afraid this guy was going to come after her. But who would have thought he would have done something so crazy like that? An injection so that there's no chance of survival. Jesus, man. That's cold and fucked up, and people are messed up in the head. How the fuck do you become so obsessed with someone that you decide you're just going to end their life when they want nothing to do with you? And how calculated was it? He put his phone somewhere he wasn't. He was wearing a reflective shirt. Like, everything was insanely coldly calculated. He ordered stuff from Etsy to perform the murder, but had it mailed to a pizzeria shop. Right? Like, he's doing everything to try to cover his tracks, and it just didn't help. The camera fucked him. Thank God the camera was there. Sometimes, that's right. Sometimes it's a good thing that the camera was on the whole time. I'm not making a joke. Usually not in my case, but that was a good time. Okay. Stephen
Griffiths is a 49-year-old man who was born in Yorkshire, England. Griffiths began his criminal behavior as a young teenager,
is that his hair?
starting
with
minor offenses like shoplifting, which rather quickly progressed into violent behavior with knives. At the young age of 17, he was sentenced to 3 years in youth custody after cutting an employee's face with a knife.
Jeez.
He even admitted to his probation officers that he fantasized about becoming a serial killer.
Oh,
fast forward
fantasy.
to 1990, Griffiths was again in legal trouble as he had held a knife to a girl's throat. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Griffiths developed an unhealthy interest in serial killers and began collecting books focused on violent crime.
Oh my God.
The negative impact of his killer fixation reached a high when he invited his then girlfriend to his apartment, and she found it entirely covered in plastic.
How the fuck, dude? How the fuck? Alright, I gotta ask, how do these guys hide their really weirdo tendencies? Like, his girlfriend. Why does he have a girlfriend if the guy's obsessed with serial killers? And he's already got a criminal history, multiple times threatening people with knives, and then fucking, you know, all he does is study serial killers. Are they so good at having a different public-facing persona that people don't realize this is how messed up they are? Are they really good manipulative people or something? Deathclaws Unite says split personalities. You think so? Like they have a on one side they're just crazy nuts killers, and the other side they're like normal people, and they can like have a divide and flip between like a switch, flip of a switch. You go from one side to the other. Like totally. Just so you guys know, that's totally nothing like me. Like I know I have a public persona, but in general, you know, today my private persona, like who I am behind the scenes, is similar to who I am on camera. Okay, I don't play like a character on camera and then I'm completely different off camera. I'm sure for some people maybe that's the truth. Like look at some content creators. Like you have to think, like for example, and this is not a shot at him at all, Dr. Disrespect. Do you really think he acts like that character off camera, right? But maybe you get so good at being two people that it's like no one can even tell. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, that's just crazy to me that this guy, okay, he studies serial killers. This is his hobby and his popular thing he likes to do here. He's gone to jail multiple times for threatening people with knives or stabbing people with knives. Oh, but he has a girlfriend who loves him and, you know, like, what? Man. All right, well, let's continue. Let's see what happens here. I don't know. I never heard of this guy.
That relationship swiftly ended, like many others did as well, due to his abusive behavior and his tendency to stalk. To continue his downward spiral, in 2001, Griffiths began to drink heavily as well as take drugs.
Oh, it's a great combination.
After completing his bachelor's in psychology, Griffiths began his PhD program at the University of Bradford. During his program, being unemployed, Griffiths spent a large portion of his time online. He also began downloading hardcore violent pornography, most likely to help quell his urges. However, in 2009,
look at all that pornography he's downloaded right there. That's a lot. Takes that long? That's got to be a lot of pornography. Actually, no, this was 2001. The internet wasn't fast, so.
Flags that had come up along the way and had coiled around him so tightly began to unfurl. Griffiths gave in to his wanting to kill and began preying on prostitutes in his area of Bradford. It's alleged that Griffiths killed in that specific area in order to pay tribute to a killer named Peter Sutcliffe, who had also killed in that area.
Wow.
It's important to note that Griffiths not only looked up to a murderer, but Sutcliffe was also known for prowling in the red light district because he liked the vulnerability of prostitutes.
It's basically a copycat.
On June 22nd, 2009, Griffiths took Susan Rushworth, a prostitute, back to his apartment. He killed her and then dismembered her in his bathtub.
Ugh.
His next victim was in April of 2010, named Shelley Armitage, a 31-year-old who was also a sex worker. His last victim was Suzanne Blamires. Blamires was 36 and had attempted to escape the fate his other victims had endured. Unfortunately, as recorded on the CCTV camera that had been specifically installed to monitor Griffiths himself, Blamires was shot fatally with a crossbow and also stabbed. This footage would be critical in his arrest and conviction.
Wait, what?
It's alarming to see how blasé Griffiths seems, walking up to the camera with continued eye contact.
What the fuck?
His middle finger to the camera almost seems like a taunt, a mixture of showing his lack of remorse along with a carefree mindset. It's especially jarring because if someone only saw the middle finger instance, there would be no indication he had just violently ended someone's life. When in court, Griffiths referred to himself as the crossbow cannibal, as he allegedly consumed parts of his victims. Griffiths pled guilty to all 3 murders and is currently serving life in prison.
So he just didn't give a fuck, right? Like they said that camera was specifically installed to track him because already people had suspected that he was up to no good and doing stuff. And he didn't care. He did it anyway. He just didn't give a fuck. Like he knew he was going to get caught. So this might be one of those cases where he wanted to be known, right? Like he felt that he was going to be known. That's why he even named himself the Crossbow Cannibal. So he wanted notoriety, and that's why he didn't care. He wasn't trying to not get caught. At that point, he knew he would with the camera. He knew that would be evidence. He just didn't care. Fuck.
He's tried to end his life multiple times since his incarceration.
Really?
It always feels somewhat like a surreal experience to witness devastating moments of people's lives on camera. We're so used to taking photos and videos of moments that are significant and that we want to remember forever, yet here we've witnessed footage that's unforgettable in different ways. In the end, the least we can hope for is that this footage brings truth and ideally justice.
And that was the
If
point.
you have any information.
Oh man, and still, look at this. It's still unsolved, even though they pretty much know what happened. They just can't prove anything. Huh. All right. So we actually have time for like one more video before my food arrives for today's Feasting with the King. So I guess the question is, what kind of a video do we want to watch? Do we want to keep going with Seriously Strange? Do we want to do another Twisted Tense countdown? Do you want to... I don't know if we want to do one of these. These are longer. And for me to react to this might be too long. I don't know. What do you guys think? More lighthearted? Like what? What can we do that's lighthearted? I don't know how lighthearted these would be. Caught on camera. Very dumb criminals. What about his most popular video? That one's really creepy. That's the one where it's people caught on camera right before they die. I don't know if I want to watch that right now. I don't know if I want to be watching that one right now. Ugh, footage from a stalker. Lost in the catacombs. What the fuck? Ugh. Ghosts or mysteries? That wouldn't be down here. Unexplained events caught on camera? How about that? It's unexplained, completely unexplained. This might be cool because maybe we could try to guess what happened. Let's do that. How about unexplained caught on camera? We try to figure out what happened in these situations. All right. We won't freak out too much. All right, here we go.
Cameras may show us what we need to see, but that doesn't mean that we ever really wanted to see it at all.
What's cool about this, you can kind of see his evolution. He's done things very differently over the years. Sometimes he has production value logos. Sometimes he's on camera himself. Sometimes he's not. He's just narrating. It's kind of interesting how he's changed things over the years. Okay. Fact or fiction? We should do some fact or fiction, I think. Because that'll be the ones we guess if they're real or not. That sounds pretty good. But let's do this one first. Lurking clowns? What?
To many, clowns represent comedic entertainment. But to others, they're simply nightmares in costumes. October 2014 was a terrorizing month for residents in Jacksonville, Florida. A clown craze began surfacing across the state as many citizens reported clown sightings late in the evenings.
What?
Despite the fact that a few residents saw the trend as a harmless prank to scare neighbors, others found it quite disturbing. Surveillance footage belonging to neighbors in Jacksonville were able to capture the eerie moments of clowns trespassing and vandalizing private property.
This is surveillance video from a home in Springfield showing a costume character walking up a sidewalk uninvited to a home.
It's a scene straight from a horror movie, but it's right here in Jacksonville. A Springfield resident's surveillance camera caught this creepy clown on his porch.
Not a single person has come forward to claim responsibility. However, Jacksonville wasn't the only place victimized by the dark presence of a sinister clown.
What in the
Photos
holy
of clowns
hell?
terrorizing residents in California have also surfaced on the web after unknown individuals began mimicking the project produced by Wrangle Photography. Residents in Bakersfield have previously reported seeing a clown roam around the town while holding a firearm. Authorities failed to find the clown after reports had come in. To this day, the clowns remain a mystery, and there's no telling exactly when they might make an appearance again.
So, Dacky says the clowns were viral marketing campaigns for the It remake movie that came out that year. What, is that true? Was it proven that that's true? I mean, maybe. That's just weird and stupid. I mean, it's pretty obvious. There's nothing serious. It's dumb, right? It's just stupid. It's a bunch of idiots running with a prank, right? Stupid people want to, oh, it's a meme, so I'll do it too. Pretty dumb. Okay. The Max Headroom hijackings? What? The character from the 80s?
This case is known as one of the most famous instances of signal hijacking. It was the evening of November 22nd, 1987, when 2 broadcast television stations were hijacked by the same group of unknown individuals within the course of 3 hours. At approximately 9:14 p.m. Central Time, Chicago's WGN-TV Channel 9 stationed a live telecast of its primetime newscast, the 9 o'clock news, featuring recent sports highlights. For approximately 15 seconds, citizens watched in utter confusion as a Max Headroom impersonator moved across their screens. Max Headroom was a fictional British artificial intelligence,
right,
and he was known throughout the 1980s for being on television.
Right.
During this Max Headroom sighting, nothing but buzzing and static could be heard in the moment until engineers at the station were eventually able to switch the frequency of their studio link.
So here it is. What the fuck?
Well, if you're wondering what happened, so am I.
Though it may have appeared to be an unusual...
If you're wondering what happened and you haven't fully filled your pants with defecation... What the fuck? That's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. What the fuck, dude? So you can tell that's just someone who wanted to see, was there a way to hijack a television station? They're just fucking around. Wow. Alrighty.
Broadcasting error that wasn't going to be the last time that anyone witnessed these conniving hijackers.
Oh, really?
2 hours later, at approximately 11:15 p.m., the same culprit struck once again, except this time targeting WTTW's Channel 11 station that had been airing a rerun of Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
For 90 seconds, the hijacker spoke in a deranged monologue, accompanied by laughing, screaming, and oddly enough, spanking, mocking the real Max Headroom while referencing the theme song to the 1950s cartoon Clutch Cargo were main highlights in the hijack.
What the
along
fuck?
with references mocking the broadcast station.
Get you a hot drink, miss.
Some dry clothes.
Because he's a freaking nerd. That's the way.
You can tell he's wearing a mask.
Many frightened viewers watched on as the unknown person and their accomplice disrupted late-night television. The Max Headroom incident made national headlines and is still talked about to this day. And to this day, no formal arrests have been made, leaving the hijack a cold case.
So no one knows who did it. That's wild. At least it didn't harm anyone, but man, that's crazy.
A search for
All
a
right.
missing loved one is a tribulation that can very easily drain a person's hope entirely. Lars Mittank was a 28-year-old man from Berlin. As a group, Lars and his friends took off to Varna, Bulgaria for a fun-filled vacation.
What the hell is he eating? What is that? It looks like a bunch of tomatoes with cheese. Wait, what the hell? It's like tomatoes with cheese. And then waffles? I don't know what the hell that is. And a coffee. That is some weird food right there, man.
On June 30th, 2014. While on vacation, Lars stumbled into a heated argument that quickly escalated into a physical bar fight. Friends had reported that Lars and a group of men fought over soccer teams, resulting in Lars badly injuring his eardrum after being struck in the head.
Ouch.
After complaining of a major earache, doctors in Bulgaria diagnosed Lars with a ruptured eardrum.
Ooh.
Though his flight back home was nearing, doctors advised Lars to refrain from flying as the
Yeah.
air pressure would negatively impact his health.
Oh,
On
God.
July 7th, Lars' friends departed for their return back home to Germany, leaving him behind. Lars insisted that he'd be fine on his own in the country. On the same evening, Lars booked a night at a Varna hotel and began texting his mother in paranoia, exclaiming that he did not feel safe and was restless in his surroundings. Something didn't add up to him. Due to his health keeping him on standby, Lars intended to visit medical professionals at the airport before he returned to Germany. On July 8th, Varna airport security footage captured Lars entering the airport with all of his belongings on hand, walking directly into the medical office. Approximately 46 minutes after his entrance, surveillance was able to capture Lars desperately running out of the airport without any of the luggage
What the
he once
fuck?
carried. He is then seen running out towards the exit and taking off far away from the airport facility. To this day, this would be the very last footage taken of Lars.
What?
A truck driver later came forward stating a man fitting Lars' description approached him, stating that the unknown hitchhiker had been making his way around Bulgaria. Lars had no record of mental illness according to his family, and news of his unsettling disappearance baffled relatives. A Facebook page and website has been set up in order to notify the public on Lars' mysterious disappearance. His mother continues to desperately search for him and has managed to reach out to news outlets and a popular German crime watch show called Case Number XY.
What the fuck? What happened?
Ging kurze Zeit, hat dann aber wieder das Laufen begonnen und ist dann bis zum Außenzaun des Flughafens gelaufen, den er nach bisherigen Erkenntnissen.
What's weird is, there he goes. So we knew he had serious damage, right, to his eardrum. Perhaps it was worse than that. Perhaps it was like an actual concussion and brain damage. And like he had said, he had been saying to people he felt like he was being stalked and everything was unsettling. So maybe he just lost his mind. Maybe he actually thought legitimately he was being stalked. Or someone was after him, and so he goes to the health department, right? And maybe he's sitting in there, he completely thinks that he's like it's that crazy paranoia, and maybe he even went to the point where he thought they were using his own shit to track him or something. So he's like, my best bet is just leave right now and get the fuck out of here and run away with nothing on me. But he's gone what happened to him, right? He could have completely lost his mind. He doesn't even know who he is anymore. That's crazy. They got it on camera. He's just booking it. The thing that gets me is, if something sinister was happening, someone would have chased him. You see? Like, let's say he goes into the office and something really was happening. Someone would have chased him down and stopped him, arrested him, whatever. Obviously, it didn't happen. So it makes me feel like he just left on his own accord. No one even knew where he was leaving. And he just, he's paranoid. Oh my God, they got me. This is what they wanted. Oh, they're tracked me with all my equipment. Leave it all here. I'm out of here. And he just ran out the door, right? Huh. Your boy Lem, thank you for becoming a super supporter of the channel. I really appreciate that. All right, that's a weird one. I think that's the end of it, right?
This is the last known image of Lars on vacation. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Lars Mittank, please notify police or the German embassy at 359-2918.
That's it. We still have some time. You guys wanted to do the fact or faked, right? Truth or tale, that's it. Truth or tale. He only did 3 of these. All right. So the way it works is some are real, some are not. And so we watch the video and we try to figure out which is real and which is not, and at the end we'll find out our answer. Okay? Cool. Which one do you guys want to do? Oh, by the way, 61 Second Man to me $1.50. I remember seeing this years ago on YouTube. The rumor Lars disappeared. He went crazy from eating a chicken from Burger King. Oh, that's what it was. Good thing I didn't eat mine. That sauce seeps right into your fucking brain. It turns you into a weird mutated creature. All right, we've got home invasions, cabin vacations. Let's do cabin vacation horror stories. Let's do this. All right, here we go.
Looking for a weekend getaway? Maybe some time away from all the hustle and bustle of the world. Somewhere you can find some peace and quiet. Many people choose a cabin as their destination for a relaxing weekend getaway, but what it offers in serenity is matched by its isolation. And we all know what can happen when people find themselves alone, out in the middle of nowhere, with something sinister lurking close by.
I don't know. I've never been in that situation.
Stories. Some are terrifyingly true, and others are tall tales strictly for the campfire. The question is, can you tell the difference?
All right. That was scary. Okay. So, oh my God, look at that face on the right. What the fuck? A cold night. All right, is this real or fake?
A husband wakes next to his wife in their luxurious summer getaway cabin after a night of drinking and barbecuing. Still in a bit of a haze from the alcohol, he goes to make breakfast when he passes his daughter's bedroom and notices the door is open and the bed neatly made. He assumes she is probably already awake and moving around, but after searching the cabin, she is nowhere to be found. After contacting the local police, word travels through the small community and dozens turn up to search the neighboring woods for the missing girl. The authorities interview the neighbors and friends who were at the cabin the night before, trying to pinpoint the last time she was seen. But it's the younger brother who saw her last, opening the doors to the basement cellar. No one recalls seeing her after this point, and it's only then that the mother remembers asking her daughter to fetch more meat from the walk-in freezer before going to bed so it could thaw in the refrigerator overnight. They open the freezer to find her lifeless, frozen body inside, where she has been trapped for over 12 hours. A horrific accident that leaves the family feeling their hearts turn stone cold.
I'm going to say false. Now remember, these are some were true, some were false. I'm going to say false solely on the premise that if there was a mass search out for the girl, the first place that would have been searched was the house from top to bottom. And they would have searched everywhere in the house, and they would have found her in the fridge. They wouldn't have been searching in the woods for the girl before they cleared the house first. So I think that one's fake. I could be wrong, but I'm going to say that one's fake. Okay.
Walking home to her cabin in a tranquil, wooded area, a young girl senses nothing off about the morning. After staying the night with a friend, she expects to find her family inside the house, still perhaps sleeping. But when she opens the door, the silence is anything but peaceful. 3 figures lay motionless on the floor, each in a pool of red blood, she soon realizes, each bound at their wrists and ankles. The realization hits her as she stares into the empty eyes of her mother, brother, and friend, all dead.
Damn.
Frantically, still trying to process the horrific scene, the girl stumbles through the house where she finds her 2 younger brothers asleep in their bedroom, completely unharmed. But her sister is nowhere to be found. Shocked and traumatized, she leads the boys out of the cabin, telling them to keep their hands over their eyes, all while stepping over the bodies of their loved ones. She runs to a neighboring cabin for help, the whole way telling herself to wake up, wishing it were all just a nightmare.
That's it? That one sounds bullshit too. That only because the reason I think that one's bullshit is the way he narrated it. He's like, oh, looked into the cold, dead eyes of the family members. I'm like, that sounds to me like he's purposely trying to write a scary story, which now makes me feel like maybe the first story was real. I think the second one is definitely bullshit. Okay, let's continue. I don't know. Now I don't know. I'm second guessing myself already. Okay.
A young couple on a quiet retreat to a remote mountain cabin turn in for the night, falling into a peaceful slumber as the snow falls quietly outside. But just as they're drifting off, the man hears a faint tapping sound coming from the living room. Between the booze and the warm bed, though, he has no desire to get up and investigate, and quickly fades out of consciousness. Upon waking in the morning, the woman goes out to start the car, but stops instantly at the sight of footprints and blood in the snow. Human footprints coming up to the front door and leading away into the woods, the trail of blood following. The woman yells for her boyfriend to come look, and he immediately calls the police, feeling suddenly unnerved by their isolation. The authorities follow the tracks, and not far into the forest, they find the body of a man in a creek, his feet barefoot and bloodied with severe stab wounds to his chest and torso. The boyfriend thinks of the tapping sounds from the night before. More than likely, the frantic knocking of a man in dire need. A man now dead in the frozen crimson snow.
That one sounds true. That one sounds true to me. Because that's like way more realistic, right? Like, you're just minding your own business. out in a cabin in the woods, you start hearing weird shit. You're like, I don't want to have nothing to do with that. I ignore it, right? And then, and then you wake up the next day, like, oh, there's blood outside. Call the fucking police. I want nothing to do with it. Leave me alone. I'm going to say, out of all the ones so far, I think that one is real. The third one, I believe, is real. Okay.
A mother drives to her daughter's remote cabin after learning she never showed up for work and didn't call in, something very unlike her daughter. Immediately pulling into the driveway, she knows something isn't right. There are beer cans in the normally pristine yard, and inside the cabin, clothes are strewn about, and her daughter's beloved dogs hadn't yet been fed. Most troubling of all, the daughter is nowhere to be seen in or outside the property. Police begin searching, but it isn't until divers take to the water of a nearby pond that they spot footprints and a drag mark in the dense, muddy lake bed. They don't dive much deeper before finding a barrel, and inside it, the body of the daughter.
Wow.
She had drowned, but the mother believes it's clear the drowning wasn't an accident, especially after the barrel mysteriously disappears from the yard before it can be examined for evidence. What exactly happened to her daughter and who was responsible?
Wait, what? I'm confused. The daughter disappeared. They did an investigation. The police find drag marks leading to a lake. They investigate in the lake. They found a barrel in the lake with the dead body of the daughter inside, but the dead body, she drowned. First of all, how did they put the body of the daughter in the barrel and not kill her first? A barrel is you would have to contort the body. Like, she'd have to be dead. She'd have to be, you know, you're talking like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'd have to fold her over and stick her body inside of a barrel. She'd be dead already. She wouldn't have died from drowning. She would have died from the trauma of whatever happened to then allow her body to be contorted and stuck inside the barrel. Then on top of that, are they saying that the barrel disappeared? What? The barrel itself? How? Once they discovered the body in the barrel and the body become evidence, they never would have let that out of their sight. So how did the barrel disappear? That doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, none of that story makes sense to me. So I'm going to say so far, out of all of these stories, I think number 3 is real. And I think the first, second, and fourth story are bullshit. That's what I think. Okay.
Remains a mystery, one that still haunts her wherever she goes.
Okay. Oh, Christmas surprise. This sounds good. Like my Super
Christmas
Nintendo that I got when I was a
seems
kid.
like the perfect time to get away from the busy day-to-day and to spend more time with family. One such family returns to their cabin after some Christmas shopping in the blistering cold. Eager to get inside, one of the daughters rushes up the stairs, where she comes face to face with a man pointing a pistol at her.
Huh.
Another man appears as the girl's mother and grandmother enter, and the gunfire and bloodshed begins.
Oh.
Both the mother and grandmother go down in gunfire, and when the father walks in, he too is shot. The daughter and her sister are forced onto the family snowmobiles at gunpoint as the two men soak the house with gallons of gasoline, setting it ablaze just before forcing the girls to drive them away to the family car. The daughters, grief-ridden and fearing for their own lives, comply and can see the smoke from the road as they're abducted and driven away. Their lives changed forever in under an hour.
Wait, that's it? That's the whole story? There's no ending? Like, did they get away? What? I would say, out of all those we just heard, those were 5. Number 3 seems the most realistic to me. Maybe... Maybe number 2. This is the one where he was. Someone said something in the stream chat that made me feel like maybe number 2 is real. Okay. The one where the sister arrives and the parents are dead, but she leads the brother and sister out of the house. Someone said, what if she's the killer? Right? I didn't even think about that. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking maybe that's true. Maybe she killed her parents, and then she didn't want the brother and sister to know it was her. So she leads the brother and sister out of the house. How else would she have done it without breaking down and freaking out? So I'm thinking 1 is fake, 2 and 3 are real, 4 and 5 are fake. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Jade says 2 BS. First one, I don't know. I think the third one is real. So basically, Jade thinks number 3 is real. I think number 3 is real as well. I think that's the most realistic of all of them. For Jeff Purposes, says he thinks the barrel and the freezer are both real. No, the barrel was 4. I think the barrel's bullshit. Clyde thinks the sister one is real. So I'm going to go with the sister one. I think she's the killer, and she killed her parents, and that's how she was able to lead the brother and sister away without freaking out, that she found the parents dead, okay? And then I'm going to go with 3 is real, because that was the most realistic of all of them. That was the one where they were in the cabin, and they heard a noise, they ignored it. The next morning, they found bloody footprints and called the cops and found a dead guy stabbed, in the woods that was trying to get help from them. They ignored him. That sounds realistic. The first one sounds like shit. I'm trying to remember what the first one even was. I can't even remember. And the barrel one sounds like... Oh, the first one was the freezer. Like I said, if you're searching for a lost girl, the first place you search is the house. So I don't believe that one. And then the barrel one doesn't even make sense from the story. And then this last one also, them just shooting everyone and then the kids drive them away, but then there's no follow-up. That doesn't sound real either. So I'm going to go with 2 and 3 are real, and the rest are fake. Okay.
So, now it's time to reveal the fact from the fiction. Which of these stories were false and which were a horrifying reality? First up is our tragic story of a young girl who accidentally locks herself in the freezer at her family's cabin and perishes from the cold. While people have died from this very cause, this particular tale is false.
I knew it. Haha. I knew it was bullshit. Okay.
Pure concoction of the imagination. What about our second story of the girl returning to her eerily silent cabin to find members of her family dead? Well, it's not the beginning of a whodunit crime drama. This horrific tragedy is known as the Ketty murders.
It's real.
4 members of the Sharp family were tortured and killed in their own cabin.
Wow.
Their murderers have never been identified or apprehended.
It wasn't the sister.
Which leads us to story number 3. The couple who hear the knocking of a man slowly bleeding to death out in the cold snow. While the thought of this scenario is certainly terrifying, this one is entirely fictitious.
He made it
though
out.
I'm not sure how many people would have answered the door either way.
Okay.
Story number 4. The body of the beloved daughter found stuffed in a barrel just outside of her cabin. While you may wish this were a mere fantasy, it's an unfortunate reality.
It's true.
Debbie Wolf was a nurse who disappeared on Christmas night in 1985.
What the
And while the
fuck?
police thought it might have been an accident, her mother always thought otherwise, and no killer was ever found or brought to justice.
How did the barrel disappear?
And our final story of the murder and the abductions of an innocent family during what is supposed to be the happiest time of the year is the unfortunate truth of the Tiki Cabin murders. The 2 killers waited for the family to return all day and even filmed themselves opening the family's Christmas gifts sitting by the tree. They were apprehended not long after fleeing, and while the killing and subsequent arson were surely traumatizing, both daughters were found unharmed. And the father managed to survive being shot and escape before the flames consumed the house.
Wow.
That's all for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. And
what kind of fucked up guys do that? Did they film themselves opening the family's fucking presents? What the fuck? What the fuck? Dude, that one blew my mind. Jeez. Okay. I think we have time for one more. By the way, I forgot to take a break and stand up. I'm so, like, my body is all fucking sore right now because I didn't take a break and walk around. I'm stupid. I should have done that. There's one more. Okay. I think we have time. Let me take a quick look. We do have time for one more, but My delivery person is at the restaurant about to pick up the food. Okay. So, what the hell? This is glitched. It's saying that they're not going to deliver it till 5 p.m. Why would they be delivering it at 5 p.m. if they're there to pick up the food now? Doesn't make sense. Yeah, it is a glitch. They have some kind of a weird time glitch in the app. That's odd. All right, anyway, we have time for one more because there's definitely time. They're going to pick it up and drive it here. We probably got about another, at least 15, 20 minutes. So, all right, we'll do one more. Let's do one more before we take a break for Feasting with the King. Do you guys want to do break-in stories or Craigslist encounters? Which would you prefer? Craigslist? Someone said Craigslist. Now Clyde says break-ins. Everyone's saying, okay, everyone's saying Craigslist. All right. Craigslist encounters.
The internet makes it easy to buy just about anything, especially on Craigslist. You can find everything from a used computer to a house or maybe even your next date. But the site is notorious for facilitating crime, everything from scams to murder. Some of them sound too ludicrous to be real, but the question is, can you tell which are truth and which are
Thank you, Ruby, for the super chat. Tried disappearances. We'll do that after the break. Okay. Yeah, it's a good question. Does anyone use Craigslist anymore? I personally, there were some things I used Craigslist for in the like 2000s, but I haven't used it in the last 10 to 15 years. Seriously, I probably used it in like the mid 2000s for stuff, and that was it. So, okay. Hunted.
Looking for a change of pace, a man applies for a job listing on Craigslist. The gig offers $300 a week for house sitting a secluded farm. After a few weeks, he gets a call from his two new employers telling him he's been hired. The three meet up to show the man his responsibilities, and they pile into a pickup truck, making their way down lonely country roads.
Okay.
But before they reach the farm, the two bosses stop the truck and say they've left some equipment in the woods and need help hauling it back.
Fuck?
Eager to impress new employers, the man follows them into the forest. Suddenly, one of the bosses pulls out a gun and begins firing at the man. Instinct takes over, and the man takes off deeper into the forest, his attackers hot on his heels. The pursuit continues for hours, with the man crawling around on the forest floor, injured, hiding, and running for his life. He eventually comes to the edge of the trees and sees a house in the distance, help so seemingly close, but so terribly far away.
That's it, and that's it. See, all right, this is, I'll be honest, is a little annoying, and the reason this is a little annoying is he doesn't tell the whole story. If you knew how the story ended, perhaps you would know if it was real or fake. So being that he didn't tell the ending, I'm going to say it's real. Because I'm going to go off the last video we just did where the girls survived and he didn't tell the ending of how the dad survived. I think that's a real story. I think it's incredibly stupid because you left a trail of evidence on the internet. You posted on Craigslist that you know what I mean? Like there's evidence of this happening. So that was really dumb. If you're going to attempt a murder, you probably shouldn't leave a fucking internet posting as evidence, you know? So I'm going to actually say the first one was real. I think that really happened. Okay.
One man looking for a cheap desktop computer finds one on Craigslist with all the right specs for a steal at only $120. The seller says if he's going to pay the asking price, the man can pick it up tonight. So the man jots down the address, and just before hanging up, the seller says, "See you real soon, friend." Brushing it off as a quirk, the man drives to the property, but when he arrives, the house and the outside lights are dark. He knocks, but gets no reply, and tries the seller's number. No response there either. Suddenly, two loud bangs shatter the silence from the backyard. The sound loud enough to scare the man back to his car. He tells himself he's being paranoid as he drives home, but the skepticism melts away when he sees a text message on his phone from a number he doesn't recognize that reads, "See you real soon, friend." When he gets home, he tries to find the seller's number again, but the listing along with the profile have vanished.
Bullshit. That's complete nonsense. That sounds like a cheesy horror movie plot, and then the rest of the movie, the guy fucking stalks him, right? Or something for some odd reason. That sounds really, really fake. What's up, Pepsi Man? How you doing? That one does sound baloney. So the first one I think was real, and the second one I think was bullshit. There we go.
Wanting to get her son something special for his upcoming 18th birthday, a mother browses Craigslist looking for a car. A Toyota Camry catches her eye. It's in good condition and only $3,500, so she immediately calls the seller, a man named Bob, and the two set up a meeting time. But later, when she pulls up to the house, the Camry is nowhere in sight. There's no answer when she knocks, but she hears a cell phone ringing inside when she calls Bob's number. Peering into the darkened house, she sees a figure standing just beyond the window.
What the fuck?
Only to realize she's come face to face with a posed, mummified human corpse.
What?
Horrified, she flees back to her car, but as she peels out of the driveway, she notices the front window blinds are parted. Someone inside has been watching, and even when she's out of sight, she can't quite shake off the feeling of paranoia.
See, now here's the thing. I wouldn't say that's fake, but it's like weird because if someone's watching, right, obviously they know exactly what's going to happen. She's going to go home, call the cops, right? The cops are going to show up and arrest the person with the mummified corpse inside. So that doesn't make sense. Like, if the story was like, if the story had ended and she didn't get away, then I would be like, oh, maybe it's real and it's just documented. But if she got away, that sounds to me like that's fake because they know she would call the cops. So I'm going to say the first story was real and the second and third are fake. Okay.
A young student looking to sell his graphing calculator puts an ad on Craigslist, not really expecting anyone to bite, but is surprised when he gets a response from an interested buyer. The two men meet up at a nearby shopping center, but when the buyer tries to test the calculator to be sure it works, he realizes it has no batteries. The student rides with the stranger in his pickup to a nearby grocery store where he purchases a pack of batteries. With the truck running, the stranger begins testing the calculator out, typing away at the keys. Without a word, he suddenly passes the calculator back to the student and pulls into traffic. That's when the student notices the stranger typed something on the screen, a message reading, "You are kidnapped." Shocked, the student can only stare at the driver who speeds up, locks the doors, and begins laughing. But the man returns the student to the shopping center and hands him money for the calculator. He warns the student to be careful about who he meets from Craigslist before driving away without another word.
I totally believe that one. I totally believe that story. That one I completely believe. Because he's probably fucking with the kid. You know. Yeah. That one I think is real. I think someone might do something fucked up like that too. So alright. Yeah, I definitely think 1 and 4 is real. I definitely think those two are real. Dead Iron just gave me $3 to playing detective is fun. I agree. That's why I think these ones where we're trying to figure out and piece together what happened. Or if it's real or not. These are the best. You know. By the way, I don't know about you guys. I'm actually really enjoying today. This is something so different from what I usually do. And this is, what I like is that he has variety on his channel as well. I'm having a great time with this. So, okay. We got time for I think there's one more. And then, by the way, the food's on the way. So, here we go.
Wanting to save all the money she can, a pregnant woman is excited to stumble across some cheap maternity clothes on a Craigslist ad. The woman contacts the poster, another woman, and they meet at the seller's house the following day. The stranger invites the expecting mother inside to look at the clothing, and sensing no threat, she enters the home, where things turn suddenly violent.
Whoa.
Without warning, the stranger smashes a lamp over the pregnant woman's head, scattering glass all over the floor. In the struggle, she slashes the mother's throat and tries to suffocate her, but the mother continues to fight against her attacker. Giving up on trying to kill the mother, the stranger takes a knife and goes for the unborn child.
Oh my God.
Instead. The attacker cuts the baby out of the mother's womb and swiftly vanishes with the child, leaving the mother to bleed out on the floor. But the woman refuses to die there and painstakingly crawls her way to a phone where she manages to dial 911 just before everything goes black.
Oh my god, that is fucked up. That one sounds too fucked up to be fake. It seriously does. It sounds too fucked up to be fake. I don't know. But I sound like I don't think she's gonna survive. She's gonna die. She'll die, you know. All right. First one, actually, I think might be real. Second and third, I definitely think were bullshit. The fourth, I think, is probably real. And the fifth, I have no clue. It definitely could be real. I'm going to go real, fake, fake, real, real. Okay.
So now it's time for you to decide which of these stories were fiction and which were a horrifying reality. So what about our first story, the man being hunted down by his employers? While it reads like a creepypasta, this story is very true.
Yeah!
The man did make it out alive, and his employers turned out to be Richard Beasley and Brogan Rafferty,
wow,
who had previously used Craigslist to lure 3 men into the woods before killing them.
Wow.
How about our second story, the man looking for a new computer only to be spooked by his new friend? If you guess this one was the work of fiction, you're probably right, as it comes from the infamous subreddit No Sleep. Though I wouldn't say this one is far out of the realm of possibility.
All right, 2
so
for 2.
What about the mother who showed up to buy a car only to find a mummified human body? While it sounds just strange enough to be real, the details of this story change depending on which version you read. So it seems it's just a cautionary urban legend.
Nah, I knew it because it didn't make sense, because if she drove away after seeing the mummified corpse, she's going to call the cops. That person's going to jail. So obviously, it's fake. Okay. Muse has to be $4.20. Says a long time no see. What's up, Muse? Welcome. Thank you for the tip. And thank you for the support and how you doing. You certainly came by at a weird day where I'm doing something completely different than what I usually do. But welcome. Okay, ready? So far, I'm 3 for 3. Do I want to change my opinion? Do I want to change my opinion on the calculator? I'm going to say it's real.
And let's hope it stays that way. Now to the man who very narrowly avoids being kidnapped by a stranger looking to buy his calculator. There's no evidence to support this one, but one user in an Ask Reddit thread about Craigslist meetups gone wrong says this happened to her friend, and she insists it is entirely
allegedly true. Well, that's kind of, I don't know. Allegedly true. I don't know if I like that. Because it happened. Yeah? Well, I'm 4 for 4, but you can't really prove that one, but oh well. All right. 4 for 4. Last one. I think it's true.
And finally, we have the gruesome assault on an expecting mother that leaves her childless. It resembles the plot of a gruesome horror movie, but this one is completely true.
Well, I got 5 for 5. I got 5 for 5. Wow. I'm impressed at myself that I got 5 for 5. All right.
Shell Wilkins was attacked by Dynell Lane after answering an ad on Craigslist and managed to survive the encounter.
Oh my
though
God.
Her child did not. Dynell was sentenced to 100 years in prison for the assault and the murder.
100 years.
That's all for this episode. Be sure to watch my other video.
But she was out on parole in 2. All right, well, holy shit. 100 years in prison for you, bitch. All right, well, I'm impressed with myself that I got 5 for 5 on that one. All right, guys, thank you so much. I really hope you're enjoying this. There is more coming. If you're wondering, there is going to be more coming. But it's time for me to take a break. Awesome. Excellent.